So you remember DVDs, right? That old ancient technology?
Man, I remember back in the day watching VHS and DVDs on the old school CRT television. What a great time to be alive.
You see, nowadays, the industry and most people really seem to be obsessed over streaming.
You have all the different services like Netflix, Hulu, Tubi, Prime, Vudu.
Voodoo and hoodoo and all kind of weird shit.
Now, to be fair, I totally get it. Number one, it's extremely convenient, and number two, it does not take up a smack ton of physical space. All you really need is space for your streaming device, whether it's a PS3, Xbox 360, or heck, even a personal computer. But nowadays, you can even stream it right from the old boob tube. However, streaming services really only show the movie or TV show itself.
Sure, Disney Plus might show a couple cute little special features here and there, but that's about it. Generally, all you see is a picture and a description of what you're gonna watch.
But back in the day with good old DVD, watching a movie was like having a full-blown event.
The menus were pretty artsy-fartsy, interactive, and full of awesome goodies like deleted scenes, bloopers, featurettes, and even games. You just got way more bang for your buck back in the day.
Now, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole talking about all the special features and extra goodies that you get with a DVD. Number one, it would take absolutely forever. And number two, I want to save it for a future video where I talk about why I believe you should support and collect physical media. So really today, I just wanted to take some time and focus on the lost art of the DVD menu.
Now, even though they still produce physical media like steelbooks, 4K, Blu-ray, and heck, even DVDs,
a lot of the menus and stuff are pretty terrible.
For example, I recently snatched up the Universal Classic Monsters 30 film Blu-ray collection. Oh, fancy, look at that. And if we throw in Dracula, well, this is what the menu looks like. Just a few movie scenes with background music. Pretty streamlined, boring, and bland.
But even more stinky doo-doo is the disc for Dracula's Daughter and Son of Dracula.
Yeah, ain't that cool? Static movie posters. Funny enough, you can actually watch the trailers for the films, but the only way to access it is to pull up the menu bar right smack dab in the middle of the movie. Like, okay.
And it really seems like all the steelbooks and Blu-rays pretty much use the same stereotypical cookie-cutter templates.
My Dark Crystal Steelbook just loops clips from the movie while playing music and gives you an option bar to choose which feature you want, and you're never taken to an actual separate menu. Creepshow basically does the same thing, except the option bar is located on the side.
And from here on out, it just gets worse and worse.
Ghostbusters only has a picture and plays the theme song. At least the option bar is pretty cool with the ghost trap and the containment unit. Wayne's World, however, only shows a picture and doesn't even have any music. But at least they have an option bar.
Unlike my copy of Street Fighter,
which only has pictures and no music. You don't even get an option bar. And don't get me started on my beautiful copy of the Gremlins Diamond Deluxe Edition. It completely skips the menu and just plays the movie. But just like Dracula's Daughter, you can access the special features in the middle of the film. At least until you're done with the movie, in which case you get to look at a picture. Awesome.
The part that really blows the ever-loving snot out of me, though, are the more independent films.
Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 only has a picture, music, and option bar. But Terrifier 3 doesn't even have music.
I mean, I don't know. You'd think the indie films would put a lot more time and effort and love into their DVD menus, since they generally try to be a lot more artsy and fartsy. But like I said, the DVD menu system nowadays really seems to be dead in the water. However, don't get me wrong, not every DVD menu system from way back in the day was a masterpiece by any means.
This is Gizmo. I found this dude at a thrift store, but I never heard of it, so I decided to pick it up. It almost looks like a homemade DVD, like someone just took the movie and burned it themselves and made their own DVD case for it. And the menu is exactly what I expected. This is one of those DVD menu templates you get with DVD making software. This one's weird though, because only after a few seconds, it does this. Okay.
So you remember these, right? Yeah, here's some old school DVDs. The thing is, however, the menu systems on these older versions really weren't that great to begin with.
This is Night Shift, and just like my Diamond Lux edition of Gremlins, it just jumps right to the movie. And the menu itself is pretty bland. Strangely enough, they use feet as a cursor. I don't know why though, because there really isn't any foot fetish stuff going on in the film. Something like that would fit well in Die Hard though. And here's The Man Who Knew Too Little. Once again, it just jumps straight to the film. At least the menu does have a transition and some music. Then we got Volunteers. This one is weird because it shows a bunch of stuff like postcards and it has a vacation paradise vibe to it. Now even though they are in Thailand, this is far from being a vacation for the characters. But otherwise, the menu looks okay. And here we have Strange Brew. What an awesome movie. Now this menu system I actually kinda like. It fits the beer vibe of the film well, even though the menu is still pretty basic.
Now I brought up the older style DVDs because I understand why the menu systems were the way they were, being older and everything. However, there is no excuse why any DVDs that came out after this should have a menu system that looked like it was made by a dinklepuss.
Here's Prince of Bel-Air, not to be confused with The Fresh Prince. Even though the movie is awesome, the menu isn't. Just a boring picture and no music. And here's Little Abner. Once again, just a still image and no music. Now here's one of my top favorite movies of all time. They Call Me Trinity. But the menu, of course, is just plain Jane garbage. Then you got the sequel, Trinity Is Still My Name. Once again, a great, amazing film, but a terrible, stinky doo-doo menu system. Funny enough, if you dink around too long on the menu, it actually jumps right back into the movie itself. Well, at least if you fall asleep while watching it, you won't get screen burn. But then we get to Boot Hill. It starts off with a movie scene, and then a narrator starts yakking throughout the menu system.
Welcome to this DirectSource interactive digital versatile disc.
They even have a trivia game where he narrates that as well.
How many flying men did you see?
You know, I think this is actually the first time I've ever heard someone narrating throughout a menu like that. Now, even though these movies are older, the DVDs were released during a time when menus could be pretty creative.
But any newer movies released during the DVD heyday, there was no excuse.
Here's The Ugly, which is exactly how the menu system is. No music, just a picture, and a button to play the stupid thing. And then we got Clockwork. At least the skeleton diver is unique, but still pretty basic. And here's Tokyo Zombie, artistic looking movie, terrible looking menu. Now I do have to say, I love the movie Mazes and Monsters. I even love the book Mazes and Monsters.
But you know what I don't love? The menu on the DVD.
Just a picture and absolute dead silence. Funny enough, the Blu-ray by Plumeria is more artsy than it should be. You got fire and all this D&D looking stuff, but nothing like that ever happens in the movie. So it's like, why'd you guys do that?
Now this one really disappointed me.
The Da Vinci Code 2-disc widescreen special edition. The menu itself is okay, and that's the problem.
It's just okay.
This is not what you would expect from a movie about puzzles and secrets and stuff. There's no Easter eggs or hidden features or anything to access. Just boring, average poppycock.
Now this one is by far the worst menu I have seen yet. It is older, however, there is no excuse for the menu to look as bad as it does. And the problem is that it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And that movie is Nothing But Trouble.
One of the greatest movies of all time, and yet they do it dirty with a dinky-doo menu system. Just look at that trash. Man, Warner Brothers were sure proud of themselves, weren't they? Ooh, look at there, the title of the movie. And wow, look at that, you even get to see some specs of the film. Good job, Warner Brothers. Way to go, above and beyond.
Now I know I've been ragging pretty hard on the menu system. However, there were tons of DVDs out there that did a pretty awesome job and were pretty artistic.
Saw had a pretty creepy menu with film clips and awesome transitions that fit the atmosphere of the movie very well. Silence of the Lambs had some spooky music and sounds with a light swinging back and forth while images of the characters' faces fade in and out, almost making the movie look more creepy and scary than it actually is. The Ultimate Edition of American Pie was pretty funny, especially the transitions with the apple pie. I mean, just look at that. Big old hole right in the middle of it. That's awesome.
And then right here, we got Boat Trip. Now this one definitely has some pretty interesting features.
The menu shows a few women chilling out in their bikinis and having conversations with each other, which actually goes on for quite a while. And when you change menus, they continue talking. Heck, even one of them is kissing a banana.
Alright, now that's pretty interesting and pretty funny. However, if you get the unrated edition,
Boom! Look at that. No joke. They actually let their tatas hang out. Obviously, I can't show it here on YouTube, but you get the point.
now this is actually the first DVD menu I've ever seen do anything like that.
Now, I'm assuming there might be more movies that are like that, but probably not a lot.
Now I know I've been yakking a lot about the menu system from movies. However, we need to give the TV shows a little bit of love too. However, just like the movies, some TV shows had awesome menu systems and some were pretty terrible.
Unfortunately, the Mary Tyler Moore Show is absolute garbage, just a still image with no music. And here I have a few volumes of Mystery Science Theater 3000, one produced from Shout Factory and one from Rhino.
But it's the Rhino ones that I want to talk about.
While the box art and stuff is awesome, the menu is not.
Now who remembers the Joe Schmo Show? I do, and this show was awesome. However, how's the menu system? Is it awesome?
Well, it's okay. It just plays clips from each of the episodes and you don't even get any features until the third and final disc. Duckman has a pretty average menu system as well as Daria. And then you get to Real Monsters, where the menu on the first disc is okay, but then it just gets slightly worse as you continue going through the discs. And unfortunately, even Angry Beavers does the same thing.
But now, we get to the good stuff.
Here we have Beavis and Butthead. Volume 1 is pretty basic by just showing clips from the show, but Volume 2 kicks it up a notch by showing Beavis and Butthead sitting on their couch, watching the clips play on TV, and reacting to them. And Volume 3 does the same thing, but they react to different clips and say different things. It's almost like having a short skit of Beavis and Butthead reviewing clips from their own show. And then we kick it on over to Twin Peaks, the Gold Edition, where every disc has its own unique menu showing various parts of the town. And even the transitions when picking a special feature takes you to different areas, which is absolutely awesome.
And last but certainly not least, we have the Angry Video Game Nerd.
I'm going to be showing volumes 1 through 5. Now, Volume 1 is amazing. It's done in the style of Super Mario Bros. With Bullet Bill and hitting all the episodes for coins. And once it gets to the end, this happens.
You're fucking dead.
Now, Volume 2 is done in the style of Mega Man, and he gets mad if you don't pick something right away.
What are you waiting for?
Unfortunately, however, this is where things start to get a little bit worse.
Now, while Volume 3 has music, you only get a still image, which is a far cry from the menu of Volume 1. Volume 4 is basically the same as Volume 3, except the image is pretty bad quality. But then, Volume 5 is even worse, with no music this time, and a still image that looks horrendous. I mean, there is tons of compression going on with that image, and I don't know why.
Alright, now I know that I've been a negative Nancy there for a little bit. However, I want to take some time now and talk about some of the most awesome DVD menus I have seen. Well, so far anyway. First up is How the Grinch Stole Christmas Collector's Edition. Now at first, it's kind of like your standard decent DVD menu, but once you get into it, there is a lot going on. Everything you go to is unique and special, and there are tons of features. You get to check out recipes for different Christmassy style treats, and even play some games where the Grinch will actually respond to your answers.
Well, that worked out nicely.
But what's even crazier is you can throw the DVD right into your computer and get other special features, including having the Grinch himself interact with your desktop. Next up is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone 2-disc edition. The first disc is okay, but the second disc is where all the action is. Right away you have some dude yakking about secrets and stuff, and if you goof off too long, he actually starts getting impatient.
How will you ever make it through Hogwarts if you can't make up your mind?
You can take a tour of Hogwarts and even play games. What's even crazier is that some places you can't access if you don't have the right stuff.
You can't be coming in here without a wand. Back to Ollivander's with you.
Now this is what the Da Vinci Code should have been, because even that was 2 discs. And finally, we have Monty Python and the Holy Grail Collector's Edition. Now there really aren't any games or anything to play, but just the menu itself is very fun and engaging. Just sitting here for a couple minutes and you see tons of random stuff happen. And all the features are comical, like the option for the hearing impaired.
Play movie, scene select, extras, audio and subtitles.
Or the sing-along stuff.
Now strike yourself sharply on the forehead with the box of the DVD.
To me, these are what DVD menus should be. The silliness of Monty Python or all the interaction with Harry Potter.
Black pepper? Bleh.
Now one thing I really haven't mentioned or gone in depth with are the special features and extra goodies that you get on DVD, such as deleted scenes, blooper reels, behind the scenes featurettes, or even playing games and checking out hidden features on your actual PC. And like I said before, that's more for a video here in the near future where I talk about collecting and supporting physical media. Like I said, today I just really wanted to focus on the menus and talk about why I think it's become a lost art form. Most DVDs nowadays that are brand spanking new just have stereotypical boring bland menus. Unfortunately, greed and laziness have affected the art of the menu system. And in certain situations I do understand, especially with TV shows where you're dealing with multiple discs. But then again, when you have a couple of broke high school students from the early 2000s who could do a way better job than some billion-dollar corporation, there is no excuse for that kind of hogwashy nonsense. You see, check this out. Right here, I have a movie that me and my friend Chris K, the film guy, made back when we were in high school. And today, we're going to check out the Special Features DVD. Here's the Special Features disc, and just look at that. Yeah, the quality isn't 4K or anything, but man, talk about an art form and really going all out with the transitions and everything. So you mean to tell me that Chris can do stuff like this, but Warner Brothers only does garbage like that? Absolutely terrible. Like I said, I just wanted to reminisce and talk about the lost art of the DVD menu. There really seemed to be a lot of pride and joy that went into some of these, and some, well, not so much. And unfortunately, the boring, bland nonsense has made its way into the new releases of physical media. And there is so much out there that would basically be impossible to talk about for a single video. Really today I just wanted to talk about the movies that I remember from my childhood and random things that I remember while growing up watching. You see, if I talked about every single DVD that I owned, it would be impossible. Alright, well with that being said, I think I'm gonna skedaddle. So whatever, I'm Janitor Jake, and I will see you guys next time.